Good evening. Welcome to the Double Oak Town Council Candidate Forum sponsored by the Cross Timbers Gazette. I'm Bob Weir and I'll be the moderator for this evening's Candidate Forum. I'm here with Max Miller, publisher of the Cross Timbers Gazette. As a local newspaper serving southern Denton County for 42 years, the Cross Timbers Gazette is proud to provide this opportunity to the community to meet their town council candidates and hear their views on the issues facing the town. The Cross Timbers Gazette is Denton County's largest locally owned newspaper, mailed to over 50,000 homes and businesses each month, including every mailbox in Double Oak. You can also read the latest Southern Denton County news online anytime at www.crosstimbersgazette.com and on our Facebook and Twitter pages. Early voting begins on Monday, April 19th and ends on Tuesday, April 27th at any of 36 Denton County locations. On Election Day, May 1st, polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Visit www.votedenton.com or call 940-349-3200 for information on your specific polling place. Now, before we introduce our candidates, Mayor Mike Donnelly will open up with a prayer.
Thank you, Bob. If everyone please stand and we'll say a prayer and then we'll do the pledges. Lord, thank you for this beautiful evening in Double Oak and for your many blessings. Please watch over the town and our residents. Be with those who are ill and with their family. Be with tonight's audience members, the moderators, and the candidates. We thank them for the willingness to serve this town. We pray for our elected officials from Washington, D.C., all the way down to Double Oak, Texas. Be with our state legislators as they go about their work in Austin. And Lord, we ask you to watch over the courageous men and women serving in the U.S. military and for those who serve as first responders, including our own Double Oak Police Department and Double Oak Volunteer Fire Department officers and members. Please keep them from harm and let them all know that we support them. We ask all this in your name. Amen. Amen. Please join me in the pledges. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Now the pledge to the Texas flag. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible. Please be seated. And again, thank you all for coming out tonight. Best wishes to all the candidates. Bob Weir, Max Miller, thank you all for being here. And we certainly want to thank our staff who have put all this together, Brian Schultz, Eileen Kennedy, and Lynn Jones. Let's give them all a hand, please.
Thank you, Mayor Donnelly. Now what I'd like to do is welcome and introduce our candidates. First of all, we have Von Booger, who is unopposed for mayor. We also have in the town council positions running is Patrick Johnson, Scott Wisenhunt, and Casey Garrison Parsons. Council candidates are seated in the order as their names appear on the ballot. Each candidate will have 1 minute for an opening statement. After the opening statements, I'll ask the candidates questions. Each candidate will have 1 minute to answer each question. Finally, there'll be a 1 minute closing in reverse order. Our timekeeper tonight is the jack of all trades, Max Miller. Okay. All right, we will begin our 1 minute opening statements with Von Booger.
Well, thank you, Bob and Max and the Cross Timbers Gazette for hosting this candidate forum. And thank you, audience, and the folks watching at home. Since I'm running unopposed, I'll be brief and then I'll take a seat in the audience. But a little bit about myself. Kelly and I moved to Double Oak, built our home in 2005. I've been on the Double Oak Board of Adjustment for 9 years and currently 2 years on town council. My work history includes being 30 years as a registered professional engineer in the state of Texas. 28 of those years I was president of a local civil engineering and land surveying firm. And presently I'm principal at a multidisciplinary design firm where my role includes community relations and employee development. My desire as mayor is to continue the good works of the town staff and our current council, to foster and build on the relationships that we have with our surrounding communities, including Denton County, and of course to preserve the quality of life and maintain the low taxes that we all love here in Double Oak.
Thank you, Von Booger. Now what we will do is the candidates running for the council will begin with Patrick Johnson for your 1-minute opening, please.
Thank you. And thank you for coming out here tonight, and for those on watching live as well. Thank you to Cross Timbers Gazette and the staff here at Double Oak Town Hall. My name is Patrick Johnson. I've been in Double Oak for 16 years. We moved here in '05. My daughters were in kindergarten and 3rd grade at the time. And the first time we drove into Double Oak, we knew that this was the place that we wanted to be. We currently reside down in the Double Oak Estates area. I've been married for 28 years. My oldest daughter is now a nurse up at ICU in Denton. My other daughter is at the University of Arkansas in nursing school as well, and my wife is a global account manager for a large credit card processor. I am currently president of Comco Systems located in Lake Dallas, Texas, and we definitely look forward to having a great forum here tonight, and I'm really looking forward to having the opportunity to serve Double Oak in the town council.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Scott Wisenhunt, your 1-minute opening, please.
Okay, thank you. And I'd also like to thank everybody for coming, everybody on Facebook Live, thank you for watching. Cross Timbers Gazette, thank you for hosting, and Bob and Max, thank you for moderating with us. My name is Scott Wisenhunt. I did move to Double Oak 20 years ago. I have served on the fire department also for the same 20 years. I'm currently chief on the fire department for about 4 years now. I'm married. My wife and I have been married for 27 years, even though I don't look old enough. For my work, I am a director of engineering at a defense industry, so we do a lot of that super neat design work that's pretty cutting edge, and I could tell you about it, but then I'd have to kill you. So anyway, thank you everybody for coming out. Again, I echo Von's sentiment that we've done a lot of good work, which we'll discuss a little bit later, and we'll get into that, but now we'll carry forward that great work when you trust me with your vote. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Wisenhunt. Casey Parsons, your 1-minute opening, please.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Max. Appreciate everyone who came out tonight, and those of you tuning in online. I'm Casey Garrison Parsons, and I am local from Louisville. I was born and raised in Louisville in Highland Village, lived most of my adult life there as well, and then married my husband Jeff 6 years ago, and we moved out to Double Oak shortly after that. We were drawn to the beautiful rural community, the wonderful people, and just the kind nature of people around here, and so that drew us out here. Like I said, I was raised in the area, so I went to Marcus High School. I have a master's in accounting and am a Texas CPA. My current role is international tax manager for a large corporation, which means that I calculate the international taxes for our U.S. businesses. And I'm thankful to be here and excited to talk with you about some of the things that we're looking forward to in Double Oak. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. We will now begin the question and answer format. Each candidate will have the opportunity to answer each question in 1 minute, and the questions will be asked in rotating order. Okay, we have about 150 questions to go through, so we will get through them as quickly as possible.
So buckle in, huh?
Yeah.
We'll begin with Patrick Johnson. The question is, why did you make the decision to run for council?
So I made the decision to run for council. Since I moved here, I've watched from afar. Every now and then I would come in and come out if there was something that I was interested in with the town council. But I really got interested when I saw what happened across the street with our neighbors, Copper Canyon, and the Vickery the problem that I think they've created for themselves. I got involved, I listened, I inquired about what we were doing from Double Oak's perspective as it relates to I guess what I call the defense that we were putting up. We ended up with a really nice fence in its wake. But what I wanted to make sure that we kept Double Oak the way Double Oak should be. I realize how our town is set up for 1+ acre tracts, and that the way things are set up. But the reality is that Copper Canyon once was set up in a similar manner, and it just takes a few individuals to get inside of it to make those changes. And we want to make sure that that doesn't happen here.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Same question for Scott Wizenhunt.
Thank you. So I am the incumbent in this election, so I am running again to carry forth the work that we have started and a lot of the achievements we have made over the past 4 years I've been here. We've lowered our tax rate. We have, without what I want to say, compromising public safety. Thus, we are still we are the safest city in Texas. Through the fire department, I've also spent 20 years serving on the fire department, so it's kind of in my nature and blood to serve. I have really built that fire department up to something to be very proud of, and Double Oak's very proud of. We're going to carry forth the traditions, the 4th of July, and I do believe, I don't have the official numbers yet, but our ISO rating for the town is going to benefit from the good works of the fire department in the upcoming year.
Thank you, Mr. Wizenhunt. Same question, Casey Parsons.
Thank you. I became interested in town council as I was, just over the last few years being in the town, paying attention to the decisions the council has made, and specifically one that had stood out to me was the Waketon Road construction project out here. And the road is deteriorating. It really needs to be redone, and I'm thankful that the current mayor and the town council has worked really hard to try and keep that on track, and we're scheduled to be doing that later this year. But I knew that there was also going to be change happening since Mayor Donnelly said that he wasn't running again. So some friends in town had mentioned to me maybe I should run, considered it, and thought, okay, well, we need some people to make sure this project is on track during this time of transition, and so I decided that I would pursue that. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. The next question will begin with Scott Wizenhunt. And the question is, what do you hope to accomplish as a town council member?
Okay. Again, working on town council for 4 years, we have made some tremendous progress. So my goal really is to continue that progress. We have kept our taxes low, and at the same time have kept about 67 to 70% of our annual revenue in savings, keeping us debt-free, and with a tremendous ability to respond to any disaster or any unplanned expense. So the lowering the taxes, the fiscal responsibility, the public safety, and again with the fire department and the relationships we have with the town and the Wake to Construction are all goals and items that we have been working on the past 4 years since I've been here, and I will continue that thrust to make sure that continues along that path.
Thank you, Mr. Wizenhunt. Same question, Casey Parsons.
I agree completely with what Mr. Wizenhunt has to say. I think the town council and the mayor has done an excellent job. I feel like our town is in a great position and we're moving in the right direction, and I want to maintain that. I'm not coming in with any radical ideas. I agree. We want to keep it the safest city in Texas. I fully support our first responders. I'm the daughter of a retired firefighter, and my husband is in law enforcement. So I'm a big proponent of supporting our first responders. I already mentioned the Waketon Road project. I think that is a big task in front of us for the next couple of years, and that's very important that we get that completed soon.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. Same question, Patrick Johnson.
Well, we are absolutely a financially strong town. We have used our money wisely over the years and will continue to do so. We need to make sure that we do it with the best interest of our citizens and our creditors as well. I think we have great opportunity to promote our own business development areas. 5, 6 years ago, we had a shipping center and a veterinary clinic, and that was about it for Double Oak. And now you've seen what's happened with the Great Lakes project. So we have an opportunity to truly engage into retail for the first time in a major way. We definitely can't rely on our property tax base to just fund everything that we do. So we have to make sure that we're managing both ways, property retail. We also have to understand that we're facing some potential inflation. So what do we need to do to make sure we protect ourselves from that? And of course, we really have to monitor our infrastructure. Even though we've made some improvements to some of the town roads, we still got to make sure that we're doing the right thing. And then finally, we just basically need to monitor what's going on with the Vickery property.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. For the next question, we begin with Casey Parsons. In your opinion, what qualities are needed to be on a town council?
I think there's a lot of qualities that are required to be on the town council. Some of the ones that I have that I think will benefit the town are, I do work in the corporate world. I have a good understanding of business processes. I am a CPA, so I also have great finance background, accounting, tax, to help maintain the budget, work on those items. And I think just also, I think being open and honest with the town members, listening to what they have to say, their concerns, so that you know what's going on, what the members of the town want. I think that's very important, to be personable, involved, and closely related to your town members.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. Same question, Patrick Johnson.
Well, obviously, anytime you're working with the citizens of a community, it's extremely important that you're doing the proper listening. That listening typically comes with some sort of problem solving. The town council can't do it alone, so obviously we want to make sure that we can incorporate the views of our citizens as well as get them involved. We've got to make sure that we're learning, we're listening, we're leading in the proper way. We want to make sure that if we're not clear on something, that we ask the right questions, that we have an understanding of what the citizens are about. In my company, Comco Systems, we operate with a servant leader philosophy, and I believe that holds true to any type of government. As a member of town council, we must find those citizens. It can't all be about just the council. We've got to find those citizens. We have to find the ones who are humble, hungry, and smart, that want to get involved in the city government and get them involved in what we need to do to address any sort of issues and ideas that the Double Oak Council can bring to the table.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Same question for Scott Wizenhunt.
So I do agree. Every individual is unique and brings a unique skill set that we can utilize on town council, whether it be financial or engineering, which we actually use quite a bit. But in addition to that, there are the softer skills such as servant's heart. I believe you actually really need to have one. And as I said, I've been serving on the fire department for 20 years. I think humility is a big deal. Selflessness. A lot of times you have to put your own self-interest aside and make sure that you are doing the best thing for the town. And that can be a very difficult thing to do sometimes when there's important issues that directly affect you personally, but are seen differently from the other citizens. So those are qualities I believe are necessary for town council.
Thank you, Mr. Wizenhunt. For the next question, we begin with Patrick Johnson. And the question is, what is your vision for Double Oak in the next 2 years?
So my vision of Double Oak in the next 2 years is first and foremost, let's get it back open. Let's get our 4th of July back. Let's get our Easter egg hunt back. Let's get all of those things that made the town unique. And that's going to take a lot of work and effort. I believe not just from the town council, but making sure we're there to support the fire department and the Double Oak Women's Club in their endeavors. I think we've got to definitely keep an eye on traffic. I think we've got to keep an eye, as Casey has mentioned, the Waketon Road project. That's going to have impact. As much as we think we can plan for it, there's going to be impact there. As I've got out and done some canvassing for this town council seat, I've talked to many folks who are very concerned about the traffic. And can we do something about that right away? I'm not sure, but it's something we definitely want to be monitoring. And then as well as we got to make sure that with that increase in traffic, that our roads are staying in a maintained shape.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Same question, Scott Wizenhunt.
Yeah, so my vision is really, and not to sound like a broken record, but to maintain the effort that we put forth these last few years I've been on council. Financial stability and remaining debt-free, keeping the taxes low, while we fund our public safety and first responders are all major concerns of mine. maintaining all roads, not just the Raketon project, but we meet regularly with the Road and Drainage Committee and make sure that our roads are in shape. We are limited funding, so they don't all get fixed right away, but that is what it is. At the same time, I agree with Patrick. The sense of community is very, very important. When the COVID hit, we couldn't have the 4th of July. The fire department brought the 4th of July to the town. We did a 13-mile run through the town. It is extremely important to maintain very close ties with the community. That's my vision.
Thank you, Mr. Wizenhunt. Same question for Casey Parsons.
My vision is no radical change, but to maintain the quality of life that we have and we all enjoy here. I think most of us are probably drawn to Double Oak because of the sense of community that we have that they're speaking of, and I agree, it was wonderful that the Double Oak Volunteer Fire Department brought the parade to us and everyone had a blast. And so we do need to maintain that. I also want to maintain our low taxes. We have possibly one of the lowest property taxes in Denton County, and I think it's really important to maintain that. And with our balanced budget, it seems like that is possible, especially with some of the retail space that is being built out a little bit. So I just want to keep the quality of life that we all love here.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. Same question, Patrick Johnson. Oh, did I go through all of those already? Oh,
Yeah,
sorry. Okay, sorry. The next question we begin
I was going to give you a different answer.
The next question will begin with Scott Wizenhunt. All right, this question is, the town council must make decisions on implementing programs or policies that may be difficult. Share with us a time when you had to take on the responsibility of making decisions that are in the best interest of others, even though they may be somewhat difficult.
Oh, there have been a few. I think one of the hardest matters really to deal with on town council is when it comes to working with individuals specifically, and the examples really are hiring of the town secretary, all the interviewing you have to do and such, reappointing the chief for the police. When you're actually making personal and personnel decisions, I do believe were some of the hardest. So the 4 years I've been here, we have not had a very contentious decision that we've really had to go through and struggle with. So it's I think between the 5 that are on right now and the mayor, we have done a fantastic job of steering the city in the right way and not getting into those arguments and discussions in the first place.
Thank you, Mr. Wizenhunt. Same question, Casey Parsons.
One of the most difficult decisions I ever had to make was probably about 8 or 9 years ago. I was working for a large corporation and had prepared a tax return, and my vice president called me and said, "We need you to change this because we didn't budget for that." And I had a very difficult time trying to tactfully tell him that, one, that was fraud, even though that's what he wanted to happen, but 2, that wasn't in the best interest of our business. It was better to just go ahead and pay the tax that we didn't budget for, admit that we didn't budget for it, and move on. And that was extremely difficult with my boss because I could have lost my job, but it was the right decision to make, and thankfully I didn't lose my job, so that was good.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. Same question, Patrick Johnson.
So last April, when COVID hit, I had a call from Melissa Carter. She is the owner of Comco Systems, and she had said that her company was in trouble and she wanted to leave a legacy for her family that had grown the company for 55 years. So I stepped in and was installed as president in April when everyone was gone from the company. The company had a tremendous amount of challenges with the morale due to the previous leadership. And in fact, it was a very difficult place to work. We immediately got started on working on the organizational health of the company in general. Put together an executive team, followed a syllabus of someone who had taken a company and got it out of where it was at. And I'm proud to say that in the last year, we have applied the proper fundamentals to be successful with the business. We have taken it from a negative situation to a positive situation, and the company is now has the foundation for it to be taken and to grow.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. For the next question, we'll begin with Casey Parsons. The question is, what are your views on the Double Oak Police Department and the Double Oak Volunteer Fire Department?
My views are pretty simple. I love both the Double Oak Police Department and the Double Oak Volunteer Fire Department. I think we have excellent members of both of those teams. They have made our town extremely safe, and I've had some interaction with them. I haven't gotten pulled over, but we did have a break-in at our house, and you know what, we were very impressed with how excellent they were when they came out and just helpful, and I love that they are members of our community. They're always driving around waving at you. The Double Oak Volunteer Fire Department is extremely helpful. They go above and beyond. I know during the snowstorm, they were helping all sorts of members of the community that had damage and problems going on, and so I'm just thankful for both of those. Like I said, I come from a family, my dad's a retired firefighter and my husband is in law enforcement, so I'm a huge supporter of first responders.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. Same question, Patrick Johnson.
I think the term rock stars might work here. Having the right leadership with the right employees is amazing. And if you look at the police department that Chief Watson created, if you look at the fire department that Scott has built with, it's a volunteer situation with the fire department. I look at those folks as just common everyday firemen for Double Oak. I think that it's very important, however, that we don't rest on our laurels. We need to be looking at continuous improvement. We need to make sure that as a town council, working with the mayor, working with both chiefs, that we continue to raise the bar on their tools, their training, their techniques, and their technology. We cannot just leave it as is. We've got to allow them to get better at what they do, and we're going to make them even greater rock stars.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Same question, Scott Wisenhunt.
Well, I can say for a fact that our fire department is the best in the county. But speaking of the police department, again, Chief Watson did a phenomenal job. And one thing that the mayor has done, and with the help of the town council, is create what we call, now the words just escaped me. When you retire and move on, the person coming in behind him. So we did it with the secretary. We did that with the police officers, and both have turned out to be really good. We send them to the training, and we do all that stuff. Safest city in Texas, so there's a lot to be said. Safest city in Texas. There's a lot to be said for the police department there, and to do that on the budget we have for our town at the lowest tax rate in the county is something to be said. So it's a phenomenal department, and they couldn't. I have nothing bad to say, but good things for them.
Thank you, Mr. Wisenhunt. For the next question, we begin with Patrick Johnson. What do you see as some challenges the town is facing going forward, and how would you address those challenges?
So a few challenges I see, more really we can create them as opportunities, is, the median age of Double Oak is 48.7 years, but yet we're seeing a lot of folks interested in Double Oak that are going to be younger. And so one of the challenges we have that it's going to be very difficult to overcome is the fact that we don't really have offer the recreation that some of our cities around us do. That's fine. We can work with those cities to allow them to do that. But we also want to ensure that the folks who move in the future, we have different varying degrees of age with our subdivisions. We have 23 subdivisions within the Double Oak city limits. So we want to make sure that as those folks come in, that we enable them from a planning and zoning, a board of adjustments, that we work with them to ensure that they're going to do the quality things to the property that we want them to do so they fit in with where we're going. So I believe that is definitely a challenge.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Same question for Scott Wisenhunt.
Maintaining our roads has been one of the big challenges. We with the budget we have been able to maintain serviceable, good roads. We've kept them in quite good condition. So with the Waketon project, I think a lot of people do get concerned on traffic, and I think that is one of the big concerns. People want Double Oak. They live in Double Oak because they love Double Oak, and they don't want it to change. I think all three of us sit up here have the same modus operandi on that. I absolutely are looking to protect what makes Double Oak so special. So the challenge-wise, we look at how do we maintain the commercial growth, keep it kind of occupied to one area, thus allowing sales tax to supplement our real estate tax base. So those kind of balances are really starting to work in our favor, and those are some of the opportunities we're working on.
Thank you, Mr. Wizenhunt. Same question, Casey Parsons.
I agree completely with Mr. Wizenhunt that I think the roads are probably our biggest challenge. I've already mentioned the Waketon project, and I'm thankful for the way that they've kept it on track over the last year, especially with COVID. I know that was extremely difficult, and so I think we're going to have to continue to push hard for that to be accomplished in the next year to 2 years in that time frame that we're looking at. And as he was saying, some of the other roads are deteriorating, and maintaining them, we've got to it takes money to maintain your roads, right? And so we've got budget there for that, but hopefully, as he was saying, some of the commercial area can help supplement some of that and increase our budget. So we've got to find ways to bring in the proper businesses in that commercial area that are beneficial to our town. And like you said, kind of maintain it to that area, because we do want to keep it the 1 acre lots that we've got, but keep the commercial area off to the side there so we can benefit from that.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. For the next question, we begin with Scott Wizenhunt, and since we're on that, the next question deals with that. Double Oak requires minimum 1 acre lots for homes. The town has been approached over the years to allow higher density home developments. Would you continue to require 1 acre minimum home lots, or would you allow higher density?
Yeah, I don't even need a minute for this answer. Okay. I will never vote for anything less than an acre lot.
Thank you, Mr. Wizenhunt. Same question, Casey Parsons.
I love the fact that we have a 1 acre lot minimum. That is one of the things, like I said, that drew my husband and I out to this area. I do understand there is some area on 407. I mean, we've got the commercial area right there, but that's not, I'm for development of that area, but that's also not a residential zoned area. So I don't think that's an issue. I completely agree with the 1 acre lot. If as a town council member, I always want to be open and listen to residents' concerns or people that bring proposals forward. I know there have been proposals in the past, and I would be open, but I think, like most of us, we want to keep it at 1 acre.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. Same question, Patrick Johnson.
So I joke with my neighbors in Double Oak Estates all the time that if I ever got on town council, we would rezone 1 acre lots with 42-story condominiums. However, that's just not feasible. So that's a playful response, but the reality is I would never vote for anything less than 1 acre.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. For the next question, we begin with Casey Parsons. The question is, Double Oak has one of the lowest overall property tax rates in Denton County and North Texas at 0.229 cents per $100. This fiscal year, the council adopted a property tax rate slightly lower than the no new revenue rate. What is your position on the town's property tax rate?
I love the property tax rate, and I want to keep it that way. I've looked around, and we are about half of the property tax rate of some of the other cities. We're half of Highland Village, and they're 56, I think, and Flower Mound's in the 40s. And so I'm thankful that we're just under 23, which is excellent. I want to keep it that way, and the way that our budget has been going, I think that's possible, especially because we've had increased sales tax revenue with COVID, with all the deliveries, online orders, that sort of thing. So that's been benefiting us to where I think we can maintain that. Plus, we've got the development of the little commercial area up there on 407. So I think we're able to maintain that property tax rate, and that is my goal.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. Same question, Patrick Johnson.
So hats off to Mayor Mike and the town council for the reduction. That was the second reduction since 2018. Our overall reduction has been 0.0319 in the last 4 years. There's not many communities that can say that. I believe we might even be able to take it a little bit lower if possible. But we can't do that basically at the expense of other things. So we've got to continue to make sure that we balance the rate of the tax with the city services and continue to improve on those. Secondly, we do have today what we didn't have 5 or 7 years ago, and that's that sales tax revenue that's coming in. So if you look at the budget that was passed here not too long ago, it very much it shows that we have the ability to continue to grow with Double Oak without impacting you on the taxes. However, the other thing that comes into play here is our values of our homes, and they're going to obviously increase due to the Vickery property, and we've got to make sure that we can do our best with Denton County to protect that.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Same question, Scott Wizenhunt.
Yes. So my opinion is obviously to keep the taxes low, since over the 4 years and those 2 tax rates drops have been, I've been on council and voted for those. I think a lot of things that make it possible, yes, the additional commercial makes it possible, but also the very, very fiscal responsible members of the town council and mayor have created a budget that not only lowers the taxes, but also saves quite a bit of money. So again, we have a resolution in place that we try to maintain at least right around that 70% mark, kind of floating around there, of savings. So things come up, we don't have to raise a bond or go into debt. So yes, we will continue to maintain that fiscal responsibility, at the same time pushing that commercial revenue to keep our taxes low.
Thank you, Mr. Wizenhunt. The next question, we begin with Patrick Johnson, and goes right into the similar. Double Oak is debt-free. What is your opinion of the town's finances?
So I spent time in the past month or so reviewing, looking at the budget. When I entered into Comco Systems here last April, the financials weren't great, and we worked hard at making sure we got them what I call right-sized. It's really nice to be able to have the opportunity to come into Double Oak and look at the budget that's set forth and the work that the town council and the mayor did that has it in such a fantastic shape, to where we can sit down and we could potentially have the debate on the issues as to what we would need to do to spend this monies that are earmarked for streets, for services, for whatever else that may be out there that meets the needs of the citizens of Double Oak. So my opinion of where we're at is to continue to be fiscally responsible, but at the same time, walking in here as a potential town council person, knowing that the books are in the order they do, I think it really helps us be able to focus on the citizens and what else we need to do for them.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Same question, Scott Wizenhunt.
Yes, again, it was over the 4 years in the work of the town council and mayor that we are this fiscally responsible. It took a bit of work. We didn't start at that level, but the beauty of it is too, now that we have that debt-free, that we are debt-free, and we have that savings in the general fund, we are now starting to earmark things that we see in the future. We know servers are going down. We know additional roads are going to be done. We know if there's no coverage on the fire sirens, things like that. We actually are earmarking some of that savings towards and funneling money in there. So when the time comes, we take it and we spend it, not even touching our budget. Again, it's a tremendous amount of work and progress that we've made in that area to be very, very responsible with the citizens' money.
Thank you, Mr. Wizenhunt. Same question, Casey Parsons.
Thank you. I've also looked at the financial statements, and I think that the town is in an excellent financial position. I'm thankful to the current mayor and the town council for putting us in that position, and that we do have that savings, as he's saying, to earmark for things and start building it out. I'm also thankful that the town is very transparent and that all of the residents can look at our budgets that are online and the auditor's report, because the auditor also has said that our financial position is excellent. So I'm thankful that we have that, and I encourage all residents to go out there and look at it, because we are really in a great financial position, and I plan to maintain that.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. For the next question, we begin with Scott Wizenhunt. The question is, what are your views on commercial development in Double Oak?
So I believe it's essential. And I really think we're blessed in the way we are laid out. We are able to maintain a good separation between where the commercial areas lie versus where our residential property lines start. I don't think many people want to live on the corner of Chin Chapel and 407, so it's a perfect spot to put, some of our businesses, our strip malls, and some of the benefits to Double Oak, and hallelujah for the meat market. I mean, I think everybody really likes that place. So we have a good, not only commercial businesses, but good commercial businesses coming into Double Oak that are not just driving some of our budget and revenue, but also enabling citizens to enjoy further living here.
Thank you, Mr. Wizenhunt. Same question, Casey Parsons.
Thank you. Mr. Wizenhunt took a lot of the words straight out of my mouth. I do agree that commercial development is extremely important, but I appreciate where it's located so that we can keep it separate. So we have our rural community with the amenities close by, and not only is the meat market going strong, but Bahama Bucks has a line wrapped around it all the time. And so I do think it's important to bring in the appropriate businesses that people want, that are going to thrive and succeed up there, and to keep it up in that area. So we do need to bring in some more. I know that the shopping center is building out, and we've got a little bit more land there that we can build out, so we've got to work on bringing in the right commercial properties, but I do think it's important right there.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. Same question for Patrick Johnson.
Well, again, similar to my counterparts here, absolutely, we want to support the commercial development, but it has to be done in the proper area, the proper way. I think when we talk about the commercial here within Double Oak, it's, unless someone wants to get some crazy ideas that are along 407 or out on Shiloh or wherever, the reality is our retail or our commercial space is kind of limited to the areas that are there. What I think we really should do, on top of making sure that we take care of that and we manage it properly, is that we partner together with these the retail for new ways to help them generate revenue. And it's nice that the folks from Copper Canyon are going to come over and spend their money in Double Oak, and that we have the Flower Mound people that'll come over, and the Louisville people coming back to the meat market. But we want to make sure that we are a partner to these retail businesses, because we want to ensure if they have full capacity and they're able to attract the business that they want to attract, that's only going to help the city of or the town of Double Oak. And then in regards to the new build-outs, we want to make sure that we do those aesthetically right.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. For the next question, we begin with Casey Parsons. The question is, the Double Oak Volunteer Fire Department depends on financial support from the residents through donations and funding from the town government. What are your thoughts on the town continuing to financially support the Double Oak Volunteer Fire Department?
I think that we should continue to support the Double Oak Volunteer Fire Department. As I said before, I think they're an excellent group of firefighters. They work extremely hard. I live up here close to it, and I see them training all the time and spending their time up there, and would plan to continue to support them and to promote events that do bring in donations, such as the parade and picnic that they do every year, and the Double Oak Women's Club that does a fundraiser for them. I believe it's an auction. It's skipping my mind at the moment, but there's several fundraisers, and I plan that we continue the same way to support them as we have.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. Same question, Patrick Johnson.
Absolute full support. If you take a look at the budget for the fire department here in 2021, it's roughly a little over $109,000 in comparison to our police department, which is around $903,000. So they're basically 1/8 or 1/9 of that total budget. And we realize that the police department doesn't have the capability to do the donation and the fundraiser things. If you talk to the communities around us, they'll say that the Double Oak Police Department is self-funded via ticket revenue. All I say to them is, why don't they just slow down and take their time enjoying Double Oak? But in regards to the fire department, quite honestly, I look at that and I would love to sit down as a part of the town council and understand the true needs of the fire department, and is $109,000 on top of what they get from their donations enough? I want to make sure, again, they've got the tools, the technology, and the training in order to be the continue to be the top fire department in
Thank
the
you.
state.
Oh, sorry. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Same question, Scott Wizenhunt?
So, answering that question with my town council hat on and my citizen of Double Oak hat on, I would say absolutely yes, we will continue to fund the fire department. It is not just a fire department that comes to the aid of citizens. It is completely meshed within the community of Double Oak through Santa coming to town on the 4th of July, the tree lighting, all the events we do with the Double Oak Women's Club. The 4th of July picnic is another big one. And what we do when people are actually in need, like Casey had mentioned, we don't, if a person's house is flooded, we don't just shut off the water and leave. We bring the wetbacks out and make sure that they're dry when we're out of here. For my chief's hat, I'm asking the town council to please continue to fund us. And I would say that fiscal responsibility that I mentioned on town council, we carry forward in the Double Oak Fire Department, and we'll gladly share the budget, but we are very responsible.
Thank you, Mr. Wizenhunt. For the next question, we begin with Patrick Johnson. Don't know how you might answer this, but when you hear about something that concerns you in the town, what steps would you take to see that this concern is resolved?
So the first thing I would do is get into what I would call an inquiry mode. So there's something happening. We need to go find out what is happening. And that's typically done with a lot of questions and answers, and we want to make sure that we can get the proper clarification. We then need to take that information and share it back with, in this case, it would be the town council, or it might be the planning and zoning, or board of adjustments, or whoever, to basically create the environment of a team that says, okay, we have a problem, we've identified as a problem, how do we solve it? That may in turn have a response back to that citizen who brought that to the table to gain more clarity in terms of what is going on. We then have to create a time frame, an expectation of what we will do to support them or to fix it, but it has to be neat and orderly, and it's got to be documented.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Same question, Scott Wizenhunt?
So that does happen every once in a while, and Patrick is correct. There's two sides to every story. So we have over the time and the issues that we've come across have gathered both sides. Sometimes the resolution is not to the citizens' favor due to Texas state laws and the way they're written. Sometimes we are able to resolve issues to the citizens' favor. Sometimes if something is out of ordinance and the other neighbors don't care and they sign a petition that says they don't care, then we will allow such things. We're not here to uphold every ordinance as strict as it could possibly be. There has to be a give and take on both sides, though. On the same time, well, I'll just leave it at that. We do have legal advice that we are able to also get at the same time. So, consulting our attorney and working with the town council and the people, we've pretty much resolved most issues.
Thank you, Mr. Wizenhunt. Same question, Casey Parsons?
Could you repeat the question for me, please?
Sure. When you hear about something that concerns you in the town, what steps would you take to see that this concern is resolved?
Okay, thank you. I would start by listening and having conversations with the people that are raising the concerns. I would also bring it to the mayor and the town council, do a little research, whatever that may be, if it's looking at town ordinances or laws that are involved. But I think I would also reach out to the town administration to see if there's a precedent set for the type of issue that's come up. Has this issue come up before? How was it handled that time? Has anything changed? Could be just a different resident with a similar issue. And so we need to be consistent in the way that we handle issues among the residents. And then we make a decision, even if it is a difficult decision that the town isn't, that town resident may not be pleased with.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. For the next question, we begin with Scott Wizenhunt. This should be an easy one for everyone. What do you enjoy about living in Double Oak?
Oh, yes. There's a couple things about Double Oak that It's the best kept secret in the Metroplex as far as I'm concerned. Obviously, the rural feel, but having all the amenities in our quote-unquote bubble that we live in is a tremendous benefit to us. But on top of that, really is the community. I saw it, like I had mentioned earlier, when the fire department comes to a call and we find somebody in distress. Not only do we help the person in distress, but we fix the environment as best as we can at the same time. When the storm hit in last February, we were inundated with calls. We had over 50 in one evening, and I just saw neighbors coming out, and when we said to people, "We got your back," the neighbors come back, "No, department, we got your back. Go to the next call." So that's why I love Double Oak.
Thank you, Mr. Wisenhunt. Same question, Casey Parsons.
As I mentioned, my husband and I were drawn to Double Oak because of the rural community feel, but it is close to all of the amenities. We love that space between our houses since we do have 1 acre lots, but we love that we've made friendships with all of those neighbors as well, and we get out and get to know them. We love the events that the town has. The Double Oak Fire Department Parade comes right by our house, and we meet our neighbors who come and sit in our yard, and we get to spend that time with them and get to know them. Same thing with the Double Oak Turkey Trot. We participate in that. It actually passes our house twice on the loop. And so we participate in that, and our family has as well, and we just love the community feel that we have here.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. Same question, Patrick Johnson.
Space, safe, quiet, country living, all the amenities of the city within a mile of our town limits. It's nice to hear farm animals. It gives you that rural experience. The community involvement, the 4th of July. I grew up in a town back in Iowa where we had a volunteer fire department that put on the 4th of July. They had a parade and they had a party just like we do here. It brings me back to my childhood. We're out behind my neighbor Mark's house every year watching the parade, and we come down and visit the town hall. Safety of the town. We are the safest city of our size, and more safe than 413 other towns. And I think we can thank Chief Watson and Chief Rivas for that. And then really just the citizens. Same neighbors. We've been in the neighborhood. We've got the same neighbors we've had for 16 years. And it's great. And we appreciate them very much.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. For the next question, we begin with Casey Parsons. When preparing to run for the city council, do you think it's important for the person to have attended council meetings and volunteered to serve the town?
I do think it's important to be involved in your town and to attend the meetings. I'm especially thankful. One of the good things that has come out of COVID is that the meetings are streamed on Facebook now and Zoom. And although that may seem that people aren't interacting as much or being able to attend the meetings, I think it's allowed a lot more members of the community to be involved in what's going on with the town and know what's going on, because sometimes you get home late from work, or you're trying to feed the kids and get them to a game or do something else. And so I appreciate that they've made that a little bit more available for all of us to attend, even if it is online.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. Same question, Patrick Johnson.
So I think it can matter. One of the difficult challenges that towns the size of Double Oak will have is the fact that these are citizen volunteer positions. And to trying to get folks involved in town government isn't always easy. If you look, for example, at this year's election, although I know that Vaughn is going to do a great job at mayor, he is running unopposed. We've got 3 folks running for 2 positions here. In 2020, I was appointed to the Double Oak Planning and Zoning, which may sound really neat on paper, but we all know that we're very limited on our planning and our zoning here within Double Oak. So the involvement we have there sometimes is few and far between. I think it's important that we look for the right people. It is a recruiting process that can be taking place. We all know someone who knows someone that may have said once in their life, hey, I'd like to go run for town council. So we want to make sure that we stay on top of that. But I think from an experience level, walking into the town council or having the ability to work with the current town council becomes a learning experience for that new member, and then they become that experienced town council member.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Same question, Scott Wizenhunt.
So, yes, I do believe both aspects of your question are important. Attending the meetings gets you a feel for not only how town council works, but some of the issues that you're stepping up to be able to vote on or discourse through. So it is important to have seen that, to understand it, and to not walk in cold. But serving is another aspect, and that's part of the question you had asked. And I believe serving the town in some capacity is an important feature. And through my 20 years of service at the fire department, I have learned a lot about this town that I carry over to my decisions I make on town council.
Well, folks, that was the last question. You guys are really good. You went through everything I have here. So, so what I'll do now is we're going to do the closing statements in reverse order of the opening. So we'll start with Casey Parsons for your 1-minute closing.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank everyone again for coming. Those of you who came out for the meet and greet, it was nice to meet you. Those of you who are joining online or watching this later, I appreciate your time and your focus of listening to what we have to say today. As I said, I love Double Oak. My goal is to maintain the quality of life that we have, keep it pretty much the same way that it is, but also make improvements where we need improvements along the roads and those sorts of things. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. You can find me on Facebook or on all of these forums online. They've got our phone numbers and our email addresses, so feel free to reach out. If you're here and you want to support me, I did put some signs out in the lobby, so feel free to take one on your way out and put it in your yard. Thank you again.
Thank you, Ms. Parsons. Same, the 1-minute closing for Scott Wizenhunt.
So thank you, everybody, for attending. I don't usually enjoy these, but tonight I actually had a fairly decent time. You trusted me with your vote 4 years ago, and last time was uncontested, so we didn't have an election. But I ask that you trust me again with your vote. We to carry forth what the good works that we've done over the last 4 years. We've made tremendous progress with this town, all the same while growing the town, growing the budget, yet keeping it the way we love it. And that's exactly what we're trying to do. And I just want to say that hey, the town council has done a fantastic job. It's not just all on me, but I do want to say that I will continue exactly where we're going on that.
Thank you, Mr. Wizenhunt. Patrick Johnson, your 1-minute closing, please.
Again, thank you for all of you who came out tonight. Thank you for those watching on Facebook. Cross Timbers Gazette, Bob and Max for hosting the event. Eileen, Lynn, and Brian from the town of Double Oak for setting this all up. You've provided a forum for all of the candidates here to hopefully reach out into the community. My priorities of representing the town of Double Oak as town council will be keep it the safest town for its size in Texas, work to maintain and improve our infrastructure, invest in our city services, but more importantly, keep Double Oak, Double Oak. Please, on May 1st, take the time. If you have to early vote, starts on the 19th, take the time when you get the opportunity, and remember Patrick Johnson. I look forward to, and I'm asking for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson, and thank you to all the candidates. Please give them a round of applause, folks.
Nice job.
Just a reminder that early voting begins on Monday, April 19th, and ends on Tuesday, April 27th. On Election Day, May 1st, polls will be open from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Please visit the Cross Timbers Gazette website at www.crosstimbersgazette.com, on Facebook and Twitter for the latest Southern Denton County news updates. Remember, local lives here. This concludes our program. Thank you, candidates, and thank you to the town of Double Oak. Good night.